you guys, this is Nicole from My Carolina Garden. I garden right on the coast of Southern North Carolina in Zone 8B. In my most recent video, we talked about all the ways we can save money and garden on a budget. So my budget gardening journey is continuing here. You can go back and check out my previous video if you want to get all the tips that I talked about with you. But here we're going to talk about almost one of the detriments, I want to say. And bear with me for a moment. It's one of the things that goes along with gardening on a budget, but it is sort of a negative, I think. It is the amount of manpower or physical labor that goes into something like this, particularly when we're dividing up our perennials or transplanting things from one portion of our yard to another one in order to expand our landscape, but still it ends up being a lot more physical labor. That's not the only time physical labor or man hours comes into play either, in my opinion. One of the other things we talked about was buying things on sale or clearance or whatever, things like that. Being on the lookout for, in this case, my example will be the bagged stone that I like to use for all of my pathways. I have to hunt for my bagged stone to get it in bags that have already been opened, so they've been marked down on sale or clearance from the garden centers so I can get it, which means that may take me 10 trips to the garden center to try to get it at that low price instead of just buying it all at once when it's available. As I said, my budget gardening journey is continuing in this video, so we're going to look at more things that I'm doing to expand the landscape that you saw me start last week, and I got so many great suggestions from you as to what else I can do to get that landscape going. So let's do it. First, let me take you back to my problem area, or the area that we have been working on. So again, I'm extending my landscape along my entire fence line over here. I want to go this way with it along the fence, and I also want to go this way with it down the slope to what we call a swale or a drainage ditch that actually takes all of our rainwater. And like I said, I live on the coast, and it takes our water and funnels it right out to the intracoastal waterway. So I have lots of area to fill up. Working on a budget, I said my number one tip in saving money in doing a big project like this was taking things from other parts of my landscape and putting them into place here where I can. Now let me show you where I'm getting some other things to add to this today. Okay, so we are in my backyard, and this area is looking really pretty, right? Well, I know that I am not alone when I say that I have a major trouble area in my yard. This is the area that collects junk, where our garbage cans are stored, all of that kind of stuff. I know I'm not the only one that has one of these, but we are doing our very best to try to cover ours up. And so what we did this year was create a brand new fence line over here that is covering that trouble area. But that's where I'm digging plants out of today, so I'm going to show it to you anyway. So beyond the gate that we just built, we have stuff. We have our pool cover, we have our lawnmower, we have a landscape trailer, the garbage cans, a lot of stuff that adds up to not looking good. So this entire area is basically just going to be for us to be able to store things comfortably without worrying that everybody else can see them. However, to my side over here where our pool filter is, I have some things in my landscape because they were once visible that can come out now because they will be invisible at this stage, and I want to be able to use them in other parts of my landscape. Let me show you what I'm up against though. I have a rose bush here, another one on the other side of the pool filter. This is where I had the hostas that I used on the outside of the fence line in my new flower bed. I divided up 2 hosta plants, made them into 4, and put the 4 out there. This one just a few days ago wasn't even looking like much, so I figured I had time to get him out of the ground and divide it up, and here he's already leafed out for me. Well, I'm going to still divide this one up as well and put 2 more pieces of hosta out on the other side. but I also want to save these rose bushes. Now that's scary to me because of the root systems, because of their size, and also because of their thorns. I am scared of thorns. So I will be putting on full long sleeves and gloves and everything and getting to work on getting my rose bushes out and utilizing them somewhere else in my landscape. Starting from my front yard and going back, you can see the fenced in area from this side with another gate. And what we have done here is removed all of our sod from this area in order to extend our driveway. We had a tree that was planted right here to the side, which we dug out and moved to a different part of our yard. Then we rented the sod cutter and cut all this up and have since rolled up all the sod pieces and put those in other spots in our yard. So talk about a lot of muscle, blood, sweat, and tears that goes into changing things in your landscape, especially when you're doing it yourself. The tree we transplanted is this red bud right here. So we took it from the side yard, put it into the front, essentially the very front corner of the property. So I right now am looking at my peninsula garden from here. Besides moving this tree, all these pieces of sod we placed throughout our swale where we had major erosion issues. And so this is in an attempt to help the rerooting of the grass, make it look better, and also hopefully stop that erosion issue. So while we had the sod cutter for the driveway extension, we also used it in some other parts of our yard as well. For example, on the far side of the pool, that's where I've talked about extending my gardens, well, my poolside gardens, which are tropical plants largely. So that is a whole nother area that I will be working on and showing you how things develop over there. Of course, using the sod cutter is only one part of the job, because then the next part is rolling up all your pieces of sod so that you can use them in other places later. Obviously, we have not fully cleared out this section yet, but from the shed area to my greenhouse area, this is all going to be cleared of grass. We'll have tropical plants to this side, tropical plants to this side with a pathway down the middle. That will utilize some of those bagged rocks that I talked about earlier that I'm trying to find on sale. It's a large area, so I figure any way I can save money, I'm going to do that. To extend these gardens, that's largely going to be utilizing things that I'm overwintering in the greenhouse, as well as garden sharing. Garden sharing is going to be with my friends and family who have things that I can trade with. So one of my very good friends, and who happens to be a neighbor as well, we, for example, like to share our canna lilies with each other. She has yellow, I have other colors, and we like to trade those sorts of plants. So extending my poolside gardens is going to be largely through the garden sharing. And then of course, I overwinter my tropical beauties in my greenhouse. Now, in talking about the greenhouse, we've also used the sod cutter right in front of the greenhouse so that this could be made into a pathway as well. The idea overall here is that we're looking to have less lawn than ever, because nobody wants to take the lawnmower around all of the flower beds, through the intricacies of pathways and whatnot, and especially bring it behind the pool. So if we can remove this amount of lawn and add other kinds of prettiness, that's what we're after. I have been overwintering lots of tropical beauties in here, like hibiscus, like bougainvillea. All of those things are going to be added to my poolside landscape. That's kind of the fun part, talking about it. Now I have to go ahead and get myself ready to start digging up those rose bushes. Both of my rose bushes are decently sized, but I'm gonna start with this one because it looks like the smaller of the two. It's hard to tell exactly what's happening under there. It looks like maybe I can divide this a little bit, but I'm not exactly sure. We're gonna see what happens once I get in there. There's a few sections that seem like they're slightly separate. So I'm going to attempt to divide this up maybe into 3 pieces if I can, and just see what happens, because it looks like if I cut the roots here but leave enough roots, I don't know, I might be okay with separating it. So that's what I'm gonna try. Nobody yell at me. Hopefully it works. Okay, well, these are the 3 rose bushes that I ended up with, and this is the hosta that I'm dividing next. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that one, since it's a lot less work than tackling the other rose bush next, and then I'll go ahead and do that one. Whew, it's a hot day for all these long clothes. This one was exhausting. It's out of the ground though. Now I just got to figure out where it's gonna go. First, water. Well, I got my hostas planted, but I'm waiting to put the rose bushes in the ground until the gravel guy comes and drops off a load of gravel for our new driveway extension. So once that's done, then the next thing can be done. Thank you for watching as I navigate through expanding my garden in a big way and on a budget. Until next time, happy planting.